Minasan ohayou gozaimasu. Welcome to the JInJapan podcast, a podcast where me, Jarvis, in Japan, Jin, give you information about Japan. And today we'll talk a little bit about my travels, because I am in Tokyo right now for work. But I have become a traveler in Japan, a nomad. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about a famous Japanese very famous now, Amabie. So, enjoy. 楽しみ. Ima corrections. So I've been recording this podcast for about 7 minutes and realized I wasn't recording the podcast, so we're going to start again. And enjoy the podcasting on OBS, because we're in the video format. So, first off, we're going to talk about my travels in Tokyo. So I'm in Tokyo now for work. I've been working in the company for 5 months now, and I haven't actually been to the office until this week. This is the first week I'm at the office. I'm using this company called Address, what I talked about last episode. What's a company I pay 40,000 yen a month, or it's basically less than most rent, and I can live anywhere in Japan. I can move around Japan while living. There's a little bit of corona risk there, but it's a risk I'm willing to take right now because I want to travel and see Japan while I'm still here. Without that, it's like there's no real point. I want to kind of socialize more, meet people. What I haven't been doing for the last 2 years has kind of got me a little bit sad. So we're going to change up this year and become a traveler. So that's what I've been doing, but it's just nice being actually getting to the company again, like meeting your colleagues that you've been working with. It's like, they're people too, and just having a place to actually go to, like you can work remotely, but also have a place you can go to, is kind of nice, like, for focus, right? Being in small little hotels all the time, maybe get a bit hard if you want to really focus on work, got something big you want to do, going somewhere you can just sit and just do that, it's really helpful. So it should be good. So where have I been staying? Like, while traveling Tokyo by bike. And traveling Tokyo by bike's not bad, but you kind of travel in the morning because, well, there's a risk of getting robbed by cars. So I need to get one of the PM2.5 masks because there's coffins just stuck behind cars a lot, and it sucks. But I started off in a place called Musashinjyou Eki. So this is sort of to the Kanagawa side of Tokyo. So you have the Chiba side with the Edogawa River, and you have the other river on the Kanagawa side with the Tamagawa River. These are very close to Tokyo. So these are very popular spots. People want to live in Tokyo but don't want to live in Tokyo. So you want to work but you don't want to live in Tokyo. You slip by these rivers, and they're quite cheaper apartments. So the address place I stayed in was Musashinjyou. And I kind of didn't really meet anyone from Address. You start off like, I'm going to meet people, yeah. And I met this sort of little house caretaker was quite nice, a young student, but didn't really meet anyone from the actual company. And now, the place I'm at now is Shinagawa. Still, there's no one. Like in the hotels I'm at, there's like no one here, so you think it was corona, you're staying in hotels, but there's like 2 people in the giant hotel, and there's so many staff cleaning the place, so it's probably safer than an actual apartment. Just saying. But it's been quite nice just travelling around Tokyo by bike. It's not always on the main roads, go on the side roads, because Tokyo is not just the main cities, like the main place, Shinagawa, Shibuya, like Shinjuku, with all the main shops. The smaller areas are quite nice, and where my work is now, what is Nagahara? I got it wrong. It's sort of like the old style streets, like the old style shops, the independent shops are still there. And yesterday, one of my co-workers took me to a bakery, and oh my god, first time in Japan I've actually had real wheat in bread. Amazing. Like Japan bread's mostly just sugarized white bread. It's gross. But extra like proper grain in bread. is a rarity. So we got a close good bakery, so that is good. We'll do probably an episode of that. Maybe get some interviews going, so that should be good. So where am I off to next? So as I said, at the moment I'm in Shinagawa. Shinagawa, the old area, the old district of Shinagawa. So over the weekend I'm gonna travel around this sort of area, get some videos, some cool shrines, and maybe after this I'm gonna go to a run to Tokyo Tower. That should be quite good, but we'll see about that. But next, I'm gonna head out to Chiba Prefecture. Like I said before, Chiba Prefecture on the right side of Tokyo. You got the Edogawa River, and then you got Chiba, but you have the Chiba Tokyo side, like the Tokyo Disneyland will sit in Chiba, but it's so close to Tokyo, it's might as well be. So first we're going to go to the Chiba city, stay in somewhere there, and then we're going to go down the peninsula, all the way to the little bottom, the tip of Chiba, and stay there for a few days. And hopefully, if it all works out the way, I may be staying there for a while after my trip to Okinawa, but that's more. Some more episodes later on this month. So, hope you enjoyed this little bit of my travels, and next we're going to talk about a fairy in Japan. A fairy of plague prevention. Amabie. So enjoy. So now I'm going to talk about the fairy of plague prevention in Japan. So in the Edo period, Japan, from the 16th century to late 18th century, in a place what's not now called Kumamoto, what's in Kyuusyuu. Remember, the place had an earthquake a few years back, and it's on the east-west side of Kyuusyuu, what's the southern island of Japan. A fairy was in a lake at night, and it said to some people, what did it say? That soon there will be a plague come, and to cut the plague you must draw my face. So this is Amabie. Amabie is a very scary looking... what is it? It's like you got a scaled fish and then you put a bird face on it. And it's supposedly preventing from plague, and this sort of Amabie has become the sort of symbol of Japanese fight back against Corona. Stop the prevention. We must draw this symbol. Everyone, cancer bullshit us. So you know, this sort of weird, sort of fictional fairy is now everywhere in Japan. And when I arrived at my place in Shinagawa, I saw there was actually a massive teddy bear in one of the shops close by, so I thought it's a perfect opportunity to talk about Amabie. It's kind of exploded in Japan. It's a very small fairy, well, it's not really popular beforehand, and now it's just everywhere you can see. And it's kind of captured a bit of the Japanese artistic culture, like Japanese very famous art, drawing photos, e-lists. And they've kind of boomed like a year back when Corona kind of hit off. And this is when we saw Amabie like going super popular in the mainstream. Everyone's drawing it like to prevent Corona, and like the fairy tale about this fairy, Amabie. The kids will draw out Amabie and prevent it. It's supposed to warn of plague. It's like the forecast that plague is coming. And I'm sort of wondering, the story is when it was like 6 years before, I think. Yeah, it was a plague in forecast 6 years before, and if you draw my face, it'll get rid of it. In real life, that's makes you work, but people drawing stuff, making awareness, has maybe had an effect in Japan to stop Corona getting so, well, bad. Make it a bit more cute, making the kids get involved more. Because the kids get involved, the kids will say stuff to the parents, and the parents get involved because the parents don't want to look bad to their kids. And that is a powerful thing if you want to prevent plague. So, if you like Amabie, please give it an illustration and put it on Twitter. Because then maybe you'll help your own country out. Because in Europe right now, it's not going great, but we got the vaccine, so a bit safer, but doesn't prevent you from getting it. But now we're traveling again, so we have risk, right? So maybe just keep up again, Amabie, and while I'm traveling, always got wipes, hand cream, always washy, and that's all you can really do, really. Like, even in work, washy, and then I'll be safe. So now I'm going to end here. We talked a little bit about one of the fairies, and if you have any other fictional character in Japan you want me to talk about, please leave a comment down below. Anywhere you find this podcast, I take requests. I put a main page for this podcast up on my site, JInJapan.com. So, if you like this podcast, like the content, please subscribe. Oh, I said the subscribe button, the word. Oh, subscribe, like whatever you find it, and if it's on iTunes, like supposedly leaving a review, that's really good, so leave a review, and like, it's amazing. That would be amazing. So, in a sense, and now I'm going to continue the Japanese version of this podcast, where we're going to talk about Rango and Soloban. 楽しみ。